In the rugged wilderness of Montana, Tim and Robin Carter harbored an extraordinary dream, a vision that transcended traditional notions of family. Their hearts yearned not for human children, but for the wild elegance of bobcats. They had painstakingly crafted a remarkable sanctuary, a haven where 3 rescued bobcats had found solace. Yet their carefully constructed world and their very understanding of resilience stood on the precipice of a profound and heart-wrenching challenge. Then the phone rang, its shrill tone slicing through the peaceful tranquility of their existence. The voice on the other end spoke of a tiny bobcat cub Clark discovered with injuries so devastating they threatened to extinguish his fragile spark of life. His hind legs, partially paralyzed, painted a bleak and desolate future. The cold, hard reality was that most facilities would have already recommended the final, irreversible act of euthanasia. Experts with their clinical detachment declared he would likely never walk again. Just when the suffocating grip of despair threatened to consume all hope, a beacon of light emerged. Lucy, a gentle yellow Labrador mix, possessing an uncanny, almost mystical gift for understanding the silent language of broken creatures. What unfolded next would shatter the rigid boundaries of conventional wildlife wisdom, challenging everything experts thought they knew about rehabilitation. The enigmatic bonds that could form across species and the astonishing, life-affirming power of companionship. This is the deeply moving tale of 2 unlikely souls, a paralyzed bobcat clinging to life, and a tender Labrador with a heart as vast as the Montana sky, who together would defy grim medical predictions, tear down the invisible walls separating species, and rewrite the very rules of wildlife rehabilitation. Before we delve into this incredible journey, take a moment to hit that like button. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and ring that notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming stories of courage and connection. The majestic morning sun, a celestial artist, painted long golden strokes through the towering pine trees of northern Montana. These radiant beams illuminated the sprawling property that Tim, a passionate 53-year-old former wildlife photographer, and Robin, his devoted 51-year-old retired veterinary technician, had lovingly transformed into their extraordinary sanctuary. Both had bravely turned their backs on predictable conventional lives, their hearts drawn by an irresistible pull towards their unconventional dream, creating a family with a fiercely independent bobcat. Their remarkable story had begun 12 years prior, amidst the breathtaking landscapes of Wyoming. During a wildlife photography expedition, Tim's lens had captured the tender intimacy of a mother bobcat with her playful cubs. Witnessing their raw, untamed beauty through his telephoto lens had ignited a profound and shared awakening within both him and Robin. "We could do this," Robin had whispered, her emerald eyes ablaze with unwavering determination. "We could give them the life they truly deserve." But the path they chose was far from easy, fraught with bureaucratic hurdles and moments of doubt. Navigating the intricate labyrinth of federal and state permits required for private bobcat ownership had consumed nearly 3 arduous years. The United States Department of Agriculture, the Fish and Wildlife Service, and Montana's own Department of Fish, Wildlife, and Parks all demanded convincing, irrefutable proof that the Carters possessed the knowledge, resources, and unwavering commitment to provide exemplary care. Their property underwent rigorous inspections, transforming with specialized enclosures designed for the unique needs of bobcats and equipped with state-of-the-art veterinary-grade facilities. Tim had to meticulously document his extensive expertise in wildlife photography and safe handling techniques, while Robin drew upon her years of invaluable experience as a veterinary technician. Their first triumph arrived in the delicate form of Sage, a mere 6-week-old female bobcat cub rescued from the clutches of a cruel wildlife trafficking ring. The day they brought her home, a wave of overwhelming emotion washed over both Tim and Robin, tears of joy and relief blurring their vision. "She's perfect." Tim had murmured, his voice thick with emotion, as he watched Sage explore her new surroundings with a mixture of cautious curiosity and burgeoning trust. The tiny kitten's exquisitely spotted coat shimmered under the soft light, and her oversized paws hinted at the magnificent creature she would one day become. Sage flourished under their devoted care, growing into a stunning 38-pound adult female, her very presence a powerful validation of their unwavering belief in their mission. Bobcats, contrary to the widely held perception of them as fiercely solitary creatures, could indeed forge deep and meaningful bonds with their human caretakers when raised from infancy with patience and love. Sage would rumble with a deep, contented purr, a sound akin to a tiny motorboat, whenever Tim gently scratched behind her delicate ears. She would often curl up trustingly beside Robin as she worked on her laptop, a silent testament to the unique connection they shared. But their journey was not without its heart-wrenching trials. Tragedy struck when they welcomed their second Bobcat, a handsome male they named Rocky. Despite their most valiant efforts and round-the-clock veterinary care, Rocky succumbed to the insidious grip of feline leukemia at a tender 4 months old. The loss plunged Tim and Robin into the depths of despair. For weeks, a heavy cloud of doubt hung over them, whispering insidious questions. Had they taken on more than they could handle? Was this a cruel sign that they were venturing into territory best left untouched? It was Sage, in her own quiet way, who ultimately pulled them back from the precipice of giving up. The once vibrant Bobcat became withdrawn and listless, her playful energy extinguished by the absence of a companion. Consulting with wildlife behaviorists, Tim and Robin learned that while bobcats are typically solitary in the wild, those raised in captivity could indeed benefit immensely from social interaction. Their third attempt brought Luna, another rescued female kitten, into their lives. Luna's story was one of heartbreaking abandonment. She had been found orphaned after her mother was tragically killed by a farmer protecting his livestock. Unlike Sage's relatively smooth transition, Luna arrived bearing the heavy burden of severe health issues riddled with parasites and suffering from the debilitating effects of malnutrition. For 2 grueling months, Robin virtually lived in the makeshift medical wing they had painstakingly built tirelessly, administering medications, gently force-feeding when necessary, and offering unwavering companionship through the long, dark nights. "I'm not giving up on her," Robin had declared fiercely during one particularly harrowing night, when Luna's fever spiked alarmingly high, threatening to steal her fragile life. The next morning, Tim found his wife asleep in the enclosure. Luna curled trustingly against her chest, both breathing in peaceful unison. Luna's recovery was nothing short of miraculous. Within 6 months, she had not only reached a healthy weight, but had also established herself as the more assertive of the 2 females. The dynamic that blossomed between Sage and Luna brought endless joy to their devoted caretakers. They would engage in spirited chases through the crisp winter snow, joyfully splash in the specially constructed pond during the warm summer months, and engage in endless bouts of playful fighting that might have appeared fierce to untrained eyes, but was in reality a display of pure affection and bonding. For 2 years, life at the sanctuary settled into a comfortable, predictable rhythm. Tim continued his wildlife photography, often using Sage and Luna as captivating models for educational materials aimed at raising awareness about bobcat conservation. Robin worked part-time at the local veterinary clinic, her expertise invaluable, while diligently managing the daily care and well-being of their unconventional family. Their unique story began to attract the attention of wildlife enthusiasts, and they cautiously began hosting controlled educational visits for school groups and researchers eager to share their passion and knowledge. Then the call came. The call that would irrevocably alter the peaceful course of their lives. Dr. Patricia Mendez, from the Wild Heart Sanctuary in Colorado, her voice laced with urgency, described a dire situation. A male bobcat cub, estimated to be a mere 8 weeks old, had been brought to their facility after being discovered alone and injured in a remote hiking area. Initial examinations revealed devastating trauma. The tiny kitten had suffered severe injuries to his delicate hind legs and lower spine, likely the result of a brutal predator attack or a tragic accident that had claimed his mother's life. His name is Clark, Dr. Mendez explained during their late-night phone conversation, her voice heavy with concern. We've stabilized him, but the neurological damage is extensive. His hind legs are partially paralyzed. He'll never be a candidate for reintroduction to the wild, and honestly, most facilities would recommend euthanasia. But Dr. Mendez had heard whispers of the Carters' extraordinary success with special needs wildlife through the close-knit conservation network. I know you already have 2 females, but Clark needs a miracle. From what I've seen of your work, you might be the only ones who can provide that. Tim and Robin didn't need to exchange more than a single, deeply understanding glance. We'll take him, Robin said firmly, her voice resolute despite the tremor of emotion that ran through her. Send us his medical records. When can we arrange transport? Clark arrived on a frigid December morning, the Montana landscape cloaked in a stark, icy beauty. The specialized animal transport van carefully navigated the winding mountain roads, each turn tightening the knot of anxiety in Tim's stomach as he waited anxiously by the heated barn they had meticulously converted into a recovery ward. When the transport crate was finally opened, a wave of profound sadness washed over him, his heart aching for the tiny creature within. The kitten was heartbreakingly small, even for his tender age. His once vibrant spotted coat was now dull and matted from illness and stress, and his bright yellow eyes held a weariness that seemed far too heavy for his mere weeks on earth. Most devastatingly, his hind legs dragged uselessly behind him as he made a valiant but futile attempt to move. Oh, sweetheart. Robin whispered, her voice thick with compassion, immediately shifting into her familiar veterinary mode, her years of training kicking in, despite the overwhelming emotion. She had already diligently consulted with 3 specialized wildlife veterinarians about the full extent of Clark's devastating injuries. The partial paralysis had cruelly targeted his right hind leg more severely than his left, but both exhibited severely limited function. He could manage a faint wiggle of his tiny toes and retained some sensation, a fragile flicker of hope in the encroaching darkness. But the essential movements of a bobcat, walking, running, leaping, activities that defined their very essence, seemed an insurmountable impossibility. The rehabilitation process was grueling, a slow and arduous climb against seemingly insurmountable odds. Clark required a cocktail of multiple medications, including potent anti-inflammatories, to combat the relentless pain medications, to manage the nerve damage, and vital supplements to support the delicate process of nerve regeneration. Twice daily physical therapy sessions became a ritual of gentle manipulation of his fragile legs, assisted stretching exercises, and painstaking attempts to encourage even the slightest flicker of movement, often using his favorite high-value treats as unwavering motivation. What astounded and inspired everyone who witnessed his struggle was Clark's indomitable spirit. Despite the cruel limitations imposed upon his tiny body, he possessed an unyielding curiosity and a playful nature that his paralysis should have logically extinguished. He would bravely drag himself around his enclosure, his small body a testament to his fierce determination, meticulously exploring every nook and cranny. He would even attempt to pounce on enticing toys, often ending in undignified tumbles, but his resilient spirit would immediately propel him to try again. However, after several months of tireless effort, a deeply concerning pattern began to emerge. While Clark was demonstrating remarkable resilience in adapting to his physical limitations, a profound sense of isolation was beginning to envelop him. Sage and Luna, despite their best intentions and occasional gentle overtures, played with a natural bobcat exuberance that Clark simply could not match. Their inherent behaviors, the playful wrestling, the high-speed chases, the graceful leaps, inadvertently excluded Clark, who could only watch from the sidelines, his bright eyes reflecting a growing sadness. "He's getting depressed," Tim observed one quiet evening, his voice heavy with concern, as they watched Clark lying alone in his enclosure, while the two females engaged in one of their characteristic boisterous play sessions. "Look at his body language. He's given up." Dr. Jennifer Walsh, their trusted consulting veterinarian, had been diligently monitoring Clark's progress on a monthly basis. During one of her visits, she offered an unexpected suggestion, a notion so unconventional, it initially left both Tim and Robin speechless. "Have you ever considered a companion dog? A dog with their fiercely independent bobcats?" The very idea seemed to defy logic. "Not just any dog." Dr. Walsh continued gently, her eyes filled with a thoughtful intensity. "There's growing evidence that certain dogs can provide remarkable therapeutic support for animals with special needs. I'm thinking of a breed known for its inherent gentleness and unwavering patience. Perhaps a Labrador or Golden Retriever. Someone who could become Clark's steadfast companion and potentially even aid in his physical therapy." Initially, the idea seemed utterly far-fetched. Bobcats and domestic dogs inhabited vastly different worlds, their communication styles, energy levels, and fundamental needs seemingly incompatible. But Dr. Walsh patiently explained how specially trained therapy dogs had successfully worked with disabled children, providing not only physical assistance, but also invaluable emotional support. She even shared compelling anecdotes of therapy dogs, forming profound bonds with other exotic animals in sanctuary settings. "The key is finding the right individual." She emphasized, her voice firm. "Not every dog would be suitable, but if you find one with the right temperament." The search for the perfect canine companion began immediately, a mission filled with both hope and trepidation. Local animal shelters and dedicated rescue organizations joined their quest, meticulously helping to identify potential candidates. The requirements were specific and non-negotiable. The dog needed to possess an extraordinary level of patience, an inherently gentle nature, absolutely no hint of food aggression, and preferably prior positive experience interacting with other animals. Lucy arrived on a warm April morning, a beacon of golden fur and gentle grace. She was a 3-year-old yellow Labrador mix, surrendered to a local shelter by a family facing the heartbreaking necessity of moving overseas. Her shelter notes painted a picture of exceptional calm and a deep-seated love for all creatures. As she stepped out of Tim's truck, her tail wagging with a slow, deliberate rhythm, her soft, intelligent brown eyes seemed to absorb everything around her with remarkable understanding. The introduction process was approached with meticulous care and patience. For the first week, Lucy remained safely within the confines of the house, while the bobcats stayed in their familiar outdoor enclosures. They could see and smell each other, their senses gathering information about this new presence. But direct physical contact was strictly avoided. Initial observations were encouraging. Lucy displayed a keen but non-aggressive interest in the bobcats, while the bobcats, particularly Clark, seemed utterly fascinated by this entirely new species entering their world. The first carefully supervised meeting took place in the neutral territory of the barn. Clark, fitted with his specialized mobility harness that provided gentle support to his weakened back legs, was placed on one side of the spacious area, while Lucy sat calmly about 10 feet away, her gaze soft and steady. What happened next brought an unexpected rush of tears to Robin's eyes. Lucy, without any prompting or command, slowly lowered herself to the ground, her belly almost touching the straw-covered floor, and gently belly-crawled closer to Clark. When she was approximately 3 feet away, she stopped simply lying there, her tail thumping softly against the barn floor in a gesture of peaceful reassurance. Clark, who had been visibly tense with uncertainty, seemed to visibly relax his small body, losing some of its rigid apprehension. Slowly, tentatively, he dragged himself closer. The two animals spent the next 30 minutes simply existing in the same shared space, an unspoken understanding passing between them. Lucy would occasionally wag her tail or subtly shift her position, but she never made any sudden or potentially alarming movements. Emboldened by her stillness and gentle presence, Clark eventually maneuvered himself close enough to tentatively sniff her paw. "I think," Tim whispered to Robin, his voice filled with a mixture of awe and profound hope. "We have our match." The following weeks unfolded like a beautiful, heartwarming tapestry, revealing the depth of Lucy's remarkable intuition. She seemed to possess an innate understanding of Clark's limitations, her every interaction tailored to his specific needs. When Clark attempted to engage with toys, Lucy would instinctively position herself as a supportive backrest, allowing him to lean against her for balance, as he batted playfully with his strong front paws. During his physical therapy sessions, she would lie patiently beside the parallel bars they had constructed, her calm presence a silent offering of unwavering moral support. Most astonishingly, Lucy began to incorporate play techniques specifically adapted for Clark's unique challenges. Instead of the typical canine games of running and leaping, she would gently roll balls slowly within his reach, allowing him to participate without the risk of falling. She would even lie down for gentle wrestling matches that Clark could actively engage in, using his powerful front legs and chest, while his weakened back legs remained safely supported. 3 months into their extraordinary friendship, something truly miraculous occurred. Tim was reviewing footage from the security cameras they had strategically installed to monitor the animals when they were alone. On the screen, he witnessed an interaction that defied all expectations, an event so profound it brought tears to his eyes. Clark had been attempting to reach a favorite toy that had frustratingly rolled under a raised platform. In his determined struggle, he had lost his fragile balance and toppled over. Lucy, who had been resting nearby, immediately sprang into action. She positioned herself alongside Clark and gently but firmly nudged against his side, helping him regain an upright position. But her assistance didn't end there. Lucy then subtly adjusted her body and slowly began to stand, keeping her side pressed firmly against Clark's for unwavering support. Amazingly, Clark responded by instinctively pressing his paws against her sturdy back, pushing himself upward with newfound strength. For the first time since his devastating injury, Clark was standing on all 4 legs, Lucy serving as his living, breathing crutch. "Robin," Tim called out, his voice thick with emotion, barely above a whisper. You need to see this." They watched the grainy footage together, their hearts swelling with a mixture of disbelief and overwhelming joy, replaying the incredible interaction multiple times each viewing, deepening their sense of wonder. This wasn't a fleeting one-time occurrence. Lucy seemed to have developed this unique assistance technique entirely naturally, her intuitive understanding guiding her actions. And Clark, with an equally remarkable spirit, was responding by actively attempting to use his weakened legs in ways their traditional therapy methods had never been able to elicit. Dr. Walsh was contacted immediately, her voice reflecting their shared excitement when they described the unbelievable event. After meticulously examining the video footage and conducting a thorough physical evaluation of Clark, she offered a diagnosis filled with cautious but profound optimism. The partial paralysis means some nerve function remains. With Lucy's unwavering support, Clark is being encouraged to use those dormant muscles in ways our traditional therapy simply couldn't achieve. A new revolutionary therapy routine was meticulously developed. Twice daily, under their watchful supervision, Lucy would become Clark's dedicated mobility aid. She would lie down patiently, allowing Clark to carefully crawl over her back, using her spine as a stable support while he tentatively attempted to walk. She would stand still as a steadfast anchor, while Clark leaned against her, practicing the crucial process of weight-bearing on his affected legs. The progress, though gradual and marked by small victories, was undeniable. Within 2 months, Clark was taking short, wobbly steps while using Lucy as his steadfast support. His proprioception, his innate awareness of his body's position in space, was improving dramatically, a testament to their combined efforts and unwavering dedication. Dr. Walsh, recognizing the groundbreaking nature of their work, began meticulously documenting their case, believing it could provide invaluable insights and a beacon of hope for other animals grappling with similar disabilities. What Lucy is providing goes far beyond simple physical support. She eloquently explained, she's offering an unparalleled level of motivation, a constant source of encouragement, and a unique kind of sensory feedback that our traditional mechanical aids simply couldn't replicate. By the vibrant colors of autumn, a mere 8 months after Lucy's transformative arrival, Clark achieved what everyone, even the most optimistic experts, had deemed an utter impossibility: independent walking. It wasn't the fluid, graceful movement typical of a healthy bobcat. His gait was distinctive, a careful, deliberate motion that compensated for his reduced sensation. But the undeniable truth was that he could now move on all 4 legs without any external assistance. This remarkable transformation permeated every facet of Clark's life. He could now actively participate in the playful antics of Sage and Luna, albeit at his own adapted pace, his bright eyes sparkling with newfound joy. Lucy, ever vigilant and attuned to his needs, would instinctively move between the bobcats during their boisterous play sessions, ensuring things never became too overwhelming or rough for her beloved companion. Tim, with his keen photographer's eye, captured a poignant photograph that would later grace the pages of several prestigious wildlife conservation magazines. Clark and Lucy lying peacefully in the warm afternoon sun, the bobcat's head resting trustingly on the dog's neck, both wearing expressions of profound and complete contentment. A year after Lucy's arrival, the daily routine at the Carter Sanctuary had blossomed into something neither Tim nor Robin could have ever envisioned in their wildest dreams. Mornings began with all 4 animals sharing a communal breakfast in the barn, a testament to the harmony they had cultivated. Lucy had gracefully learned to eat from an elevated bowl, eliminating any potential for resource guarding issues, while Clark managed his meal from a specially designed station that accommodated his unique mobility needs. Physical therapy had evolved into a heartwarming group activity, while Lucy diligently worked alongside Clark's Sage, and Luna had instinctively learned to participate by creating natural obstacle courses within their enclosure challenges that appropriately engaged all 4 animals. The nimble females would demonstrate techniques like navigating fallen logs or gracefully climbing low platforms, which Clark and Lucy would then attempt at their own adapted pace. Educational visits to the sanctuary now included deeply moving presentations about the extraordinary power of interspecies relationships and the innovative approaches to adaptive care for disabled wildlife. Children, in particular, were captivated and profoundly inspired by witnessing Clark's playful interactions and his determined movements, a living testament to hope and resilience. While Lucy's invaluable role as a therapy companion beautifully demonstrated the immense potential for cross-species bonds, Dr. Walsh, recognizing the scientific significance of their journey, published a compelling case study titled "K9, assisted rehabilitation for neurologically compromised wildlife. Based on the remarkable progress of Clark and Lucy, this groundbreaking work ignited crucial discussions within veterinary circles about innovative and compassionate approaches to wildlife rehabilitation, challenging long-held assumptions and opening doors to new possibilities. On a crisp December morning, exactly 1 year from the day Clark had first arrived at their sanctuary, a fragile and broken creature, Tim and Robin stood at the edge of the main enclosure, their hearts filled with a quiet sense of wonder. They watched their 4 extraordinary animals engage in what had become their cherished daily ritual. Lucy lay basking in a sun-drenched spot, while Clark stretched out contentedly beside her, using her sturdy back as a comfortable pillow. Sage and Luna engaged in a spirited mock hunting session nearby, their lithe bodies flashing through the tall grass, occasionally darting past the peacefully resting pair. "You know," Robin said softly, her voice filled with a deep emotion that resonated with the very core of their being. "When we decided to rescue Clark, I honestly thought we were the ones saving him." Tim nodded slowly, a profound understanding passing between them, a silent acknowledgement of the unexpected turns their journey had taken. "But he saved us too, in a way. We learned that family doesn't have to look like what we initially imagined." As if in gentle agreement with their heartfelt words, Lucy lifted her head, her tail thumping softly against the frozen ground. Clark stirred beside her, performing his now familiar stretch, extending his strong front legs and carefully positioning his back legs, a proud display of the hard-won mobility he had so bravely regained. The soft afternoon sun caught the varied and beautiful colors of their unconventional family. The intricate spotted patterns of the 3 bobcats, the warm golden coat of the Labrador mix, all together in their shared space, radiating an aura of profound contentment. It was a scene that defied traditional scientific understanding of species boundaries, a living testament to the remarkable adaptability of animals when given the right environment, unwavering patience, and the transformative power of unconditional companionship. As the soft hues of evening began to paint the Montana sky, and the animals instinctively settled in for their customary sunset rest, Tim couldn't help but reflect on the incredible journey that had brought them all together. From the initial challenges of navigating complex permits and regulations to the heart-wrenching loss of young Rocky, the long and arduous recovery with Luna, and finally, the life-altering arrival of little Clark, every step, every joy, every sorrow had led them to this extraordinary moment. Lucy had proven with her quiet grace and unwavering devotion that sometimes the most profound and life-changing assistance comes from the most unexpected sources. Her intuitive understanding of Clark's unique needs, combined with her patient and gentle nature, had facilitated a recovery that traditional veterinary approaches alone could never have achieved. The undeniable success of their rehabilitation efforts had attracted the attention of wildlife sanctuaries across the country. Tim and Robin now found themselves consulting on complex cases involving disabled wildlife, sharing their hard-earned experiences, and even helping to establish a network of dedicated foster homes equipped to handle the specialized needs of these vulnerable creatures. But for all the recognition and the expanded scope of their mission, what mattered most at the end of each day was the simple, unwavering daily routine they had lovingly established, the quiet morning feeding rituals, the joyful afternoon play sessions, the peaceful evening gatherings where 4 very different animals shared space in perfect unspoken harmony. As darkness gently blanketed their Montana sanctuary, Tim performed his final check of the day. The heated barn was warm and inviting, with fresh straw bedding carefully arranged in the animals' preferred configurations. Lucy had already assumed her familiar position as Clark's nighttime guardian. The bobcat curled trustingly against her side. Sage and Luna occupied their usual spots on the elevated platforms, occasionally chirping softly to the others their gentle sounds, a lullaby of contentment. Sweet dreams, everyone. Tim called softly into the quiet darkness before turning out the lights. In the stillness that followed, the soft sounds of contentment continued, the occasional gentle purr, the rhythmic cadence of peaceful breathing, the slight rustle of shifting positions. Tomorrow would bring another day of therapy, of playful interaction, and of unwavering companionship. Another day of proving that with boundless patience, deep understanding, and unwavering love, even the most challenging obstacles could be overcome. The story of Clark and Lucy had blossomed into something far greater than just a successful rehabilitation case. It had become a powerful testament to the profound and often unexpected connections possible between different species, a shining example of the transformative power of adaptive care, and a beautiful reminder that family in its truest and most meaningful form comes in countless shapes and sizes. As Tim quietly climbed the stairs to the farmhouse, he paused at the window, gazing out one last time at the darkened barn. In the soft moonlight, he could just make out the comforting shapes of their animals through the windows, 4 distinct silhouettes, representing an impossible dream that had become their extraordinary reality. Robin was already nestled in bed when he joined her, but she wasn't yet asleep. "Did you ever think?" she asked quietly, her voice filled with a gentle wonder, "that when we started this journey, it would lead us here?" Tim settled beside her, his mind filled with the image of a tiny, partially paralyzed Bobcat kitten who had unknowingly taught them all about the profound resilience of the spirit, and a gentle golden dog who had shown them that healing comes in many forms, often wrapped in fur, and filled with an abundance of unconditional love. "No," he replied honestly, his voice soft with emotion. "But I am grateful every single day that it did." Outside, the ancient Montana wilderness whispered its timeless songs, while inside the warm barn, an extraordinary family slept peacefully, their dreams filled with sunny days and the endless possibilities of tomorrow. A valuable lesson. The heartwarming story of Clark and Lucy beautifully illustrates that compassion, understanding, and a willingness to look beyond conventional boundaries can lead to extraordinary outcomes. It teaches us that healing and connection can blossom in the most unexpected places and between the most unlikely individuals. By embracing empathy and adapting our approaches to meet the unique needs of others, whether human or animal, we can unlock incredible potential and create bonds that enrich all our lives. We would absolutely love to hear your thoughts on this inspiring story. Please share your comments below. And if you enjoyed this tale of friendship and resilience, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this video